Yo, what's up, everybody? How's everyone doing? I apologize in advance for no green screen today. I had a very long day. Doing some organizing and then getting tattooed all day. So I am a little bit tired. And I still got more shit to do tonight after the stream. So bear with me. What I've decided to do is bring on my homie, a guest, Ninjascalp on Twitter. You guys may have heard of him. He's awesome trader. Definitely does a lot of awesome low time frame trading, order book reading, things like that. And I think he's got some alpha that he'll be willing to share with y'all. So this is definitely going to be an episode that you're going to want to rewatch, take some notes, because I've learned a lot from Ninja. And I think he's a great trader. You know, he's obviously very profitable. He's got a very consistent strategy. So one that you're going to want to pay attention to. So I'm just going to do a quick read about our fearless partners here at Delta Exchange. So for those of you guys that don't know, I've been trading over at Delta for the last little bit. It's been going really well. I'm still familiarizing myself with the platform, but I am liking it so far. So shout out to the Delta team. I appreciate the support that they're giving me. I'm going to be trading and moving a lot of my trading over there from here on out, especially for trading the majors on Bitcoin, Ethereum, things like that, for futures trading. What I'm most likely going to do is some sort of trading challenge. I think it will be a good opportunity for me to share with you guys a little bit more about the actual trades I discuss in stream, because I do discuss a lot of trade setups in stream, and I think a lot of them get lost in the milieu of other stuff that I do. So I want to have a little bit of transparency with you guys and show you that not only am I taking these trades that I'm sharing with you, but that you can grow an account from, you know, a smaller dollar figure amount to a larger dollar figure amount if you're consistent and you have a strategy that works. So I'm going to be going over that a little bit once we get into the meat of it and I fund the account and things like that. I'm probably going to do something like a $30,000 deposit. And then what I'll be doing is trying to run that balance up. My initial goal is going to be a 5x, so 30,000 into 150,000. I know a lot of people post, crazy run-ups on their trades, being like, yo, I took this account from $500 to $100,000, things like that. While that is very much possible, for the most part, to do those types of trading challenges, you're oftentimes running a very aggressive kind of risk profile, risking 25, 30, 40, 50%, sometimes even 100% of the account on any given trade. They're quite degen in nature, and that's just not how I trade. Have I done it before? Of course, but that's not really how I trade. I'm much more of a calculated person when it comes to the type of risk management I like to use, and risk averse, I guess you should say. So I'm going to be aiming a little bit more conservative. I'm going to try and 5x the account initially, and we'll see what goes on from there. And I probably won't be risking more than 10% a maximum of the balance on any single trade. Probably going to be closer to 5%. But what I will be illustrating is that, the setups I share work, and that even with relatively proper risk management, if you're consistent, you can grow an account quite quickly, and you can definitely outperform most traditional types of investments. So excited about that. But we're going to get Ninja on here in a second. Shout out to Delta. Thank you so much. Excited to be working with you guys. Right now, if you sign up, you can get up to $30,000 in bonus trading deposits. So if you deposit a certain amount of money, they give you some free money essentially to trade with, up to a maximum of $30,000. It's a sliding scale. All of the information you will need is in the link in the description of this video. It's delta.exchange/tradermayne, or it might be just /Mayne. Check the description of this video. You also get 10% off trading fees. So shout out to Delta. Bitcoin and Ethereum are looking really good. So we are going to be covering Bitcoin, Ethereum, and we're going to be covering. Sorry, my brother is texting me. And we'll cover Litecoin because Litecoin's cooking finally. So excited to finally bring up the Litecoin chart. So I'm gonna get Ninja on the call now. Please save your questions about specific altcoins as usual to the end of the video, guys. So if you want to see specific coins covered, save those to the end of the video. And we can kind of do a quick altcoin review at the end, but we're primarily going to be covering Bitcoin here and Ethereum. We'll cover Litecoin briefly, and then if we have some time, we'll look at some other alts, okay? So looking forward to this episode. Just gonna have a sip of water here. And let's get into it. So I'm just gonna get our boy Ninja on the call. Brush my teeth. Is there something in my teeth? Ninja, are you there? Yeti.
What's up, Mayne?
Yo, what's going on, brother? How are ya?
Good, chilling, bro.
There's nothing in my teeth, you assholes. Can everyone hear Ninja? Why don't you say some words, bro? Let's see if they can hear you.
Mic check. All right. Is it working?
Can you guys hear Ninja? Let me know in the chat.
I don't
Okay.
think so, bro.
Yeah, they're saying yes.
Oh, they could.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I had this issue when I was trying to bring Cred on the other day, and he got frustrated and abandoned me. Cool. So, Ninja, why don't you just start off? I feel like a pretty good game plan here is you start off, give a quick just overview of who you are, the type of trading, like how you would classify yourself as a trader, short-term, long-term, PA, order book, whatever. And then we'll just kind of go from there, and then we'll hop into some analysis.
All right, sounds good. So, should I start now?
Get after it. It's all you.
All right. What's up, guys? I mean, I don't know. Maybe some people know me already. So I trade Bitcoin full-time, crypto full-time. And yeah, just intraday trading, whether it be scalps or swing positions. So I look for both depending how the market is. And sometimes like position building, what I was doing yesterday and got stopped out. But that's all good. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So I mean,
Okay, so you don't classify yourself as, like, I know you post a lot of low time frame charts, so some people might confuse that as be like, oh, he's just a scalper. One thing I always try and like to tell people is, you don't have to marry yourself to one time frame. You can trade low time frame and high time frame. The mechanics of the market are the same. I think just the velocity in which the information you are given changes. But at the end of the day, if you've learned how to mark up charts on the high time frame, you can kind of, take that knowledge is portable to the low time frame as well. This guy says the music is too loud. There's no music, bro.
I'm weak. That's funny.
But cool, man. So how long have you been trading for?
So I got wrecked in 2017, pretty much got wrecked in 2018. And then I guess like 2019, that's when I took it like really serious. And then like just basically went full time November 2020.
Okay, so relatively recent. I mean, you're coming up on a year full time. What were you doing work wise before? Were you in trading, finance, anything like that?
Freelance work. So pretty much studied like by myself, right?
Okay.
And I have a accounting degree, so
Oh,
I
same
guess
here.
I was always into like math and stuff, you
Yeah,
know?
same here. I was an accountant as well. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, you found out accounting was soul sucking. You probably wanted to kill yourself, and you're like, I gotta find a better way, right?
Yeah, it was garbage because like you basically have to get your CPA
Yeah,
and like that's like I mean, that's a waste of time in my opinion.
I agree.
But that's another discussion. But yeah, I like trading, so it worked out.
Awesome, man. Let's pump these likes, you losers. Over 200 people watching. We need to pump these likes. Um, I'm the same way, man. Like, got into accounting, hated it. I ended up getting my CPA. Huge waste of time. Always been into numbers, but what kind of drew me to trading eventually was the ability to have my earnings be tied to my effort level. At first, that got me into sales, and then from sales, I got into trading because sales was basically other than like owning your own company and then obviously trading. There's not many things you can do where your amount of work that you put in, the hours you put in, your skill will have a direct kind of correlation to how much you make. Like you can be the best accountant in the world, you make what other accountants in your firm make. Like that's just how it is. So I
Yeah.
wanted to kind of find a way where I could separate my earnings from just time. Like, oh, I did this for 8 hours, therefore, that this is how much money I make. And so trading became very attractive for me. So as someone who's relatively new to trading or full-time trading, you've been doing it a year. Did you kind of ascribe to the whole old adage of like you need to have X number of dollars, 2 years of savings saved up? You should be comfortable. Your trading account should be this big, blah blah blah, before you decide to make the leap, or were you just like, fuck it, I'm all in?
That's a good question. But basically, probably like secured 6 months or less, and then just like was like I'm doing it full time. Cause like you know I could always go back to work.
Yeah.
Like that's not a problem. Cause I do freelance work. So when I took that risk, the bull market did good. Like
Yeah.
2020, yeah, it was good.
So I had like a similar situation in that when I went full time the second time, which is the time where it ended up working, I went full time after like the 2013 bull run because I thought I knew what I was doing, but I just happened to be part of a bull run and make a bunch of money. Um,
Yeah.
Timing in the market when you come in definitely can be favorable to you. Personally, I learned the most in the bear market because it kind of really forced you to actually learn how to trade. Because
Yes.
we're so blessed right now where 5 6 7 10 20% days seem like the norm, whether it's on Bitcoin, altcoins, or whatever. Where you were around in 2018 and certain parts of 2020 where sometimes you're squeezing out like 1 or 2% moves, and they may only happen once or twice a week or a day, and you really had to be ready and you really had to be primed. So it kind of really focused your skills, I think, in a big way, in a good way, because you weren't blessed with just being a bull in a bull market, right? And I do think a lot of people, especially new people who are joined this cycle when it's been up only for the last 2.5 years, when the trend does shift, because it will eventually, whether that happens here or another $30,000 higher. Once the market starts to go down and the volatility drives up, it's not as easy. For basically the last 3 years, you had a very good chance of being right if you just longed stuff and waited. And I know a lot of guys who made a lot of money by just having conviction that we're in a bull run and then just were long and patient. I'm unfortunately not that type of person. I have I don't know what kind of personality disorder you want to call it, but I have a very hard time sitting on positions for a very long time. And I have a very hard time, catching the absolutely monster swing moves. Like I'm like, okay, A to B and I'm out. And then maybe it goes another, 5-10%. And sometimes that can be a hard thing to deal with, but that's just me. I do think we're in very much favorable market kind of circumstances right now. And I think if you're wanting to be a trader, if you are a trader, don't take this type of market environment for granted, because the market doesn't always move this easily. It's not always this clean, and we don't always get this much volatility. So, when it's game time, like it is right now is definitely the time to pay attention. So, what I think I'm going to do here is I'm going to give my very quick high-level view of Bitcoin, and then I'd love to hear yours, and we can kind of compare notes and kind of see if we can give these guys some trade ideas for this upcoming week. So right now, guys, on my screen, I have the weekly Bitcoin chart up. And I've been using this high time frame, the weekly and the 3-day, to kind of find my key levels of interest for where I thought this next leg was going to generate from. And so if you've been following me for a while, basically when we got back from Dubai, we had that SFP of all-time high. And then I'd marked out this 3-day order block here, this very clean SR level at about 58K. And my two scenarios were very simple. I said I'm going to be bullish here at 58K. And if we lose that level, I'm looking lower. I'm looking at, kind of 50 to 52K. And that was just kind of the high time frame plan. And for those of you guys that watch me and have been watching me for a long time, my first thing that I do when I'm trying to, analyze the markets is I find what are my key levels of interest where I think price might have a reaction. Because that's where I want to do business. I want to do business at support and resistance, and that's when I zoom into the low time frame and I'm looking for those order blocks. I'm looking for those patterns, whatever you want to call it, at those levels to get in line with the trend, and then obviously to refine an entry and a risk placement. And so we ended up having the low form right at that 50K, 8K level that I'd marked out. We came right into it. We spent a couple days down there. We went sideways. We had some choppiness, and now we are finally pushing away. We've made a new all-time high. We have closed above the high of that swing failure pattern candle. So, all things considered, I'm relatively bullish here, and I think for good reason. What I'm looking for on Bitcoin now is, are we going to get some massive expansion from here? Or are we going to have, a shakeout to kind of fuck over people who are piling in longs right at all-time high? Maybe they missed 58K and now they're longing $10,000 higher, which is typical for Twitter, and kind of make a plan there. So key levels are here. Hopefully they make sense to you guys. Right here, we have a fresh 3-day order block here. So this 3-day order block spans from about 60K to 63.5. And I know that's a large area and price. You can enter based on the 3-day, or you have that as an area where you're bullish. And then when price comes down there, if it does, we will be looking for reasons to get into some longs, because potentially we might see some sort of shakeout or wipeout of some people who got in late. That's your retest, right? When people are getting wiped out on a pullback because they longed late, they're getting liquidated. The savvy trader, right? The smart money, that's when you're looking for your entry. You're not chasing the green candle, you're waiting for that pullback. And sometimes that's hard. Price is at 68K right now, and you might be like, well, everyone on Twitter says we're going to 75 or to 80. So I'm just going to long right now. And then what will probably happen is we'll probably see a pullback, to maybe like the low to mid 60s, and then we'll see that next leg up. And what happens is all those people who long the top, they get caught, they get stuck underwater, they ended up puking into the bids of the smart money who are waiting lower, and then you get that next leg. So when I look at Bitcoin right now, that's the most obvious scenario that I see playing out. Marking out this level here, rules of the order block, right? Down candle before the up move, broke market structure, We're near a high time frame level, that being the old all-time high. Any sort of pullback into this 60 kind of 62K area is an area where if it happens, I'm looking to be a bull there. It might not happen. The exact same logic was what I had here. I said I'm going to look to be a bull at 58, and if that fails, I'm looking to be a bull here. My bias was still to the upside. It doesn't mean you can't short on the way down and short lower time frame pullbacks, but my high time frame thesis is we're in an uptrend. So that is my high time frame trend that I'm focusing on, and I'm looking for low time frame confirmation that at my previous SR levels that the bulls are still kind of in charge, and we're going to see that bullish continuation, right? The downtrend in a big uptrend, there's your key level. You have this period that is a downtrend where it doesn't mean you can't short here, but when we get to that high time frame support, I'm looking for reasons to get long in anticipation of a continuation of the high time frame trend. And a perfect example of what I just explained here is what happened on Ethereum. So those of you that have been following my Ethereum analysis, we had a very similar setup here. I said, okay, I'm looking to be bullish. I had another level marked, I think lower, like here at 36 or something. But I said, I'm looking for us to either come down here or break out, and retest and then move, or I'm waiting for a deeper pullback, maybe a run of this level, and then a move up. And what you'll see happened on Ethereum, and I still got the squiggly on here, is we had that initial breakout. I'm just gonna delete that squiggly so it's a little more cleaner. How many people do you think long this and then got shook out on this, right? Well, personally, I was long Ethereum from lower. When I saw this breakout, I didn't chase. I waited and I said, okay, well, if this breakout is legit, what am I doing? I'm marking out the order block. We're at our key high time frame level being previous all-time high, and I'm gonna wait. There was the break in market structure. There was the move away. A bunch of people long this breakout. I'm waiting here. Right back into my order block, right back where my plan was to get in here, and now I'm long. And this is the breakout that I think takes us to 5K. Whereas most people, I think once this level broke, they're just thinking we go directly to 5K. The market tries to make it as difficult as possible for you generally to get on board. There's always going to be pullbacks in the uptrend. You're going to get fake outs of levels. You're going to get all sorts of shit. And the way that I find to kind of improve is to have that mindset being like, okay, we just broke previous all-time high. What's the likelihood that we just put in a green dildo to the next key level? It's possible, but much more likely that we probably pull back, get some people out of their longs, and then load up here for that other leg. So if you've been following the streams, if you've been following my tweets, this pullback play we nailed. And we had the squiggly line there, and it played out about as clean as you can get, right? Break above 43.70, there's your pullback, that's your entry, and now it looks like Ethereum wants to go to 5K, and you know it's a sniff away at this point. So pretty happy with both the analysis on Bitcoin, catching the low here at 58, and then now on Bitcoin, I'm going to be looking for some sort of pullback towards previous all-time high to get long if it gives me one. It doesn't always have to give you that setup. And Ethereum, I'm sitting in a comfy long from this pullback around 43.70, and my target remains 5K for now. So I'm pretty happy with how things have gone. I think the trades are looking good that I'm in. Alts are being relatively resilient. Some of them are suffering for sure. But you do have to remember, if Bitcoin's going to put in a big 10-15% candle one day, looking at your alt BTC pairs and making sure that those are kind of maintaining their uptrend. Because if your alt BTC pair looks like shit and Bitcoin puts in a big green candle, your alt USD position, if you have one, or if you're longing an alt versus USD position, it's going to underperform, right? So I'm bullish across the board. If a pullback comes, those are buying opportunities in my opinion. We just made a new all-time high. So I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people are going to start FOMOing into longs, probably on leverage at this point. A good kind of easy thing to watch here now is, okay, we've got this previous high that we just broke. This becomes a key level. If we deviate back, if we move like this, back below this level, that could give you a low time frame short opportunity, or at the very least, it can give you a clue that we're probably going to get that order block retest that I marked out And then this is where you want to long, right? Dumb money is the one longing this breakout, in my opinion. You want to be smart money. So that's kind of my plan going into this week for Bitcoin. If we get a pullback into that 60 to 62K area, that bullish order block I talked about here, or even just a pullback towards the previous all-time high and then show some bullishness, that's where I want to add to my longs. And then on Ethereum, we got the pullback and retest of all-time high. I think this thing continues to push higher. Dips are for buying. And FBTC, if we look at that, right, it's kind of following the plan that we had talked about in the last video, right? I said we're in resistance here. I think if we can push up here, I think the next move is going to be the one that breaks us to the upside. So assuming that this now becomes kind of an SR flip here on FBTC and we can see us put in a higher low, maybe it's a little lower, but a higher low here, I think we're going to see that, potential breakout that we've been waiting for towards 0.1 on FBTC, which means we might see Ethereum lead the rally, depending on what Bitcoin wants to do. But I'm bullish on both of those assets, and I'm also bullish on Litecoin. It's been a long time coming, but Litecoin is finally starting to move. How do we know if this is just another one of these moves that completely fully retrace? We don't. But every time I see a move like this, I want to look for buying opportunities. And when you see a low get broken, like here, and then reclaimed, which it's in the process of doing, this gives you a very good risk-defined setup. Huge downtrend, ran a low. Hopefully you're going to reclaim that low. And if that happens, we should see LTC USD outperform Bitcoin USD. And we've kind of seen that over the last 2 days. Big divergence here. If you're a divergence trader, there's a huge high time frame weekly divergence that's been built on LTC BTC, and this thing looks like it's just been sold to shit. So if this thing can finally get its shit together, hold above this low and put in a nice up candle, I do think we'll see a nice rally on LTC USD. I shared this chart a while ago. Everyone was asking me, why are you still looking at LTC? It's because it's like going back to like an ex-girlfriend. Like, you shouldn't, they've hurt you in the past, but you don't give a shit. The sex was too good or something, or except in this case, the sex was awful, and we didn't even have sex. But you just keep going back for some reason anyways. It's like that toxic ex-girlfriend or friend or something that you can't quite get away from. And I saw LTC US or BTC putting in that big divergence, reclaiming that low, right, where it went down, got back above, and then we were coming into a high time frame order block here after starting to put in some bullish market structure. So I marked this level out. We had a nice sweep within the demand zone, and to me the 286 was the clearest target. And as LTC BTC has pumped, you've now seen LTC USD pump, and as you can see, relative to Bitcoin and Ethereum, it is outperforming both. So bullish on this as well. Looks like we're making another higher high. So across those three pairs, I'm in longs or looking to get long, and I'm bullish on them for those reasons. So that's probably my fastest overview of what I think about Bitcoin, Ethereum, and LSD. So I'm gonna pass the chart over to Ninja here. And I just want to kind of see his thoughts on Bitcoin, on Ethereum, and anything else he wants to talk about. And we'll kind of go from there. So just give me 1 sec here, guys. All right, let's say. Go ahead and request to share your screen there, brother.
All right.
So I'm going to pop this out. All right, everyone in the chat, let me know if you can see Ninja's screen. I can see it, so I imagine you guys will as well. Did I say LSD instead of LTC? That's my bad, guys. Clearly got drugs on the mind. Can everyone see his screen, guys? looks like you're good to go, brother.
All right. So should I start on Bitcoin?
Sure.
So um, first I'll just talk about my current position. So I'm short Bitcoin from like right
Boo.
here.
Boo.
Bro, I have to make it back in one trade. They got me. So anyways, we're short from like right here because first of all, I spoke about it in my stream earlier. Um, so if we go on a 15-minute time frame. So I had basically this trend line here before this little bullish consolidation. And these are trend lines that I usually first touch short, whether it's for a scalp or a swing. So like when price comes up there, I'm just gonna short it. Like I don't even care. Um, so yeah, basically when you fast forward, I took my first short from like right here, the first trend, and just added. And pretty much I'm just average from like 68, 470, something like that. So that's my current position. Um, so since I'm already in profit, I could take profit now. It's like about a little above 1 R, but I'm just gonna like hold the trade until like I get stopped out. Cause then I'll just look for another short. So like I'm really playing it for a, a decent risk to reward. So like if I show my RR, it's like my stop loss is like right above the trend line. And then like I'm trying to target 66.4, that's 9R if I target here. So I'm fine if I get stopped out now. That's just intraday. But do you want me to talk about bigger picture?
Yeah, maybe go into your logic on why you're targeting the levels you're targeting. So I understand these trend lines that
Okay,
you draw. Is this some sort of proprietary kind of loom line kind of esque trend line drawing that you've done?
it's a ninja trend line.
Okay, the ninja trend line. We have to
I can
work.
show you the trend line and discuss why I first touched shorted.
Sure.
Um, so if you focus, it's basically this light blue, yellow color,
Yeah.
and there's another one right here. If you see this one, so this one right here starts basically from like the bottom near 29K. So like I just leave these trend lines open, and then when price comes back to it, if I get a reaction, I'll just short it. So like you see right here, if you shorted, you could have got a decent 7% dip. So when the price comes to the trend line, I just try to trade it based on the trend line. So like since it's here now, I'm just trying to play off the trend line. So like if it closes above my trend line, then I could exit the trade. But as long as it's below my trend line, I could still like, you know, hold the trade. And even like trading just by this, like it's a trend line technique. I also like have different charts that I look at. So there's ones where I don't even use trend lines. I'm just looking at basic price action. I guess all of them have a trend line. See, that's how much I like trend lines. They're very good. But if you look at this from price action perspective, if you're playing lower time frames, you have a consolidation which seems to look bullish, and the trend currently broke on lower time frames. So technically, if I'm trading the 3 to 5 minute time frame, if price is gonna come back and start closing up above here, then I'm gonna consider that the bulls are in control on lower time frame. So it's just basically like an intraday trade. So if the bulls reclaim here, then I'll just get out the trade. So I'm basically just trying to earn Bitcoin on the way down. I'm holding spot, so if you understand what I'm saying.
No, I do. I think
Intraday trading.
I think a lot of
So a lot
people.
of people think like I'm a perma bear or something. Like I'm just really looking for a good risk to reward
Well,
setup.
you're a trader, and I think this is something I learned because where I did most of my learning in trading was not in crypto; it was in forex. And I don't care what the value of the Great British Pound dollar is or the Great British Pound yen GY. Like I don't care. I don't care if it goes up. I don't care if it goes down. I'm basically
Yeah.
just saying, okay, what is my analysis telling me, and what trade can give me a RR that satisfies my needs, whether it's a long or a short, that's the trade I'm taking. I think because we're in crypto and it's an asset that people want to accumulate more of, they want to buy it, they want it to go up because most people, oh God, we're shorting. Everyone just short Sol. I saw his alert. We weren't supposed to see that. Everyone full short Sol. Um, but I
Yes.
think,
So
go ahead.
no, I'm listening. I'm listening. I'm
Yeah,
just looking at Soul as the alert came.
yeah, like so I think most people, because it's crypto, you want crypto to go up naturally. Everyone wants up only. So it's very easy to
Of
get
course.
stuck in a bull bias. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to take longs, especially in a bull market, because you're with the high time frame trend, you're getting paid in Bitcoin, which is also appreciating in value on its own. But real traders, people who aren't just perma bulls, are trade or perma bears, are taking trades in either direction if it hits the criteria. And so what Ninja has showed you here is, here's my criteria for the short based on this time frame, based on this time frame's trend. The asset is irrelevant. That could be Bitcoin, it could be Ethereum, it could be gold. It doesn't matter. It's just a short setup that he's done however many times, and he knows that there's an expectancy where he might be able to make some money. So I think that whole perma bear, perma bull logic that gets thrown at certain people, like people like to say the same thing about SZ, right? Trader SZ, who's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
Oh, he's always bearish. It's like, no, he just likes to short when a short setup appears. But people seem to forget that from 30K up to 50K, he was longing everything, right? So it's not about being a perma bear or a perma bull. If you're an actual trader, you're just looking for asymmetry in risk reward in either direction.
Of course. Yes. I agree. I mean, so I don't only scalp, so like I do swing trade as well. So I mean, you make more money on swing trades, good ones. So like I longed Bitcoin intraday. This is funny too. Like if you saw Kyle's tweet from 3A Capital,
Yeah,
like before Barry tweeted, he's basically telling you to just long Bitcoin right here. You see?
yeah.
Did you see his tweet, by the way?
His
He's
tweets
funny.
have a bit better of a hit rate than Suzu's.
Yeah, so like he basically said long here from his tweet. But yeah, like where was I going with this? So like I already caught the bulk of this move. Like I was longing from 40Ks. So like if I take profit, if I start taking profit here, like that's a pretty good long, right?
Yeah,
So even Solana, right? I'm long from like 120 literally on one account. So like was it this dip? So this 120 dip, I was getting long. I remember this dip. Do you remember this dip?
yeah, I do.
Yeah, so like I had a zone here before. So like when price is going up like this, I'm really not looking to long in this area. So I always look to long where there's untested, demand. So basically, I missed this whole move. Basically, what is this? Like a 80% move. That's a big move to miss, but it's fine because I was just waiting at hourly demand zones, and you see like when the price is coming, where is it? So like the price comes to the demand zone here, and then it starts to make higher lows. You see it, and then we break out. But I think like in this range, I forgot what fund was accumulating. So they longed in this range right here. I think it was Grayscale. I forgot who it was, but they announced it, and we had the breakout. And then after I saw the breakout, I was looking at for it to hold in this range. So like I added to longs like around 140s here. So basically caught this whole move up too. And like just here, just like, you know, looking to hedge and play the trend intraday. Because like that's good profit on a swing. And like I'm not looking for swing longs on Solana here, like,
Doesn't
right?
make
So
sense.
like if I'm looking to swing long Solana, it's gonna be like from at least 200. So like over here, the risk to reward is basically like to the downside, right?
Yeah.
Because I have easy invalidations. So that's how I'm looking to play, just like Bitcoin, right? Because like I mean, I'm already short, and I could get stopped out on this trade, and it's gonna be fine because like I think I showed yeah this trend. So like my invalidation is really so tight. But if I'm right on this trade, there could be good risk to reward. So if I lose like 5 of these trades, it's fine because like I just need one of them to be right with the high risk to reward setups.
Yeah.
But the swing longs, like they're gonna be down below. But yeah, like even you see here, like I have a trend line. If I'm trading intraday, it's gonna come back here. I'm gonna look for a long because like I use many trend lines, but when price comes to the trend line, I look for plays. Like you see, there's swing points at these trend lines the same way there's swing points at support and resistance levels. It happens at the trend lines too. So like you can see here, there was support on the trend line. So yeah, I use trend lines, and then on top of that, I look at delta, like you know buy side, sell side. I look at the footprints. So I try to look at who's dominant in what area. So it gives me an idea of like where sellers should step in, right? So like if I'm looking here, you can see um, a buyer try to push the price up. He got met with a seller. And then on the retest, you can see like the buyer couldn't push it up, failed. And then he came again, try to push it up and failed. So right now, it just gives me an idea along with a lower time frame where bulls should be able to close above, and if they don't, then the bears are winning the lower time frame battle. So it just gave me a little extra confluence to my trade.
Yeah. What I like, and so a couple of things, guys, that he just touched on that I tell you guys all the time, right? He's using diagonals. I think a common misconception people have is when they hear diagonals, they're like, that's not price action. To me, anything that is just focused on the price chart, whether your lines are horizontal or diagonal, and then using market structure, is price action. I personally am not someone who uses diagonals. It doesn't mean that I don't think they can be used and used well. Ninja is a perfect example of that. SZ uses diagonals, LoomDart uses diagonals, and I would classify these guys as primarily price action traders. And as for the order book stuff, this is not something I personally do. And I don't think that um, people realize like there's so many tools out there, and Confluence is the perfect word that you can use in confluence with your price action to get more information, right? All you're trying to do is get information asymmetry about a certain area in the chart where price might be sensitive. And then what you want to do as a trader is then focus on that area, and that's where you want to look for your setups to occur. I think there's really a big issue a lot of people have when they're learning to trade is they don't know where to learn. Maybe they know how to draw SR, but they don't know how to get in a trade. Or maybe they know how to get in a trade, but they don't know where to look for those entries to occur. And those things need to happen, in my opinion, one before the other. The first thing you need to do is, where am I interested in looking for price to have a reaction? Whether you use trend lines, horizontal SR, supply and demand, moving averages, order books where you're looking at the value areas and things like that, whatever you need to do, ranges, Monday's range, whatever, all that does is that's giving you the framework of areas where price might be sensitive. Once you have that framework, now you're like a sniper. You're ignoring all of the noise in between those areas, and you're only focusing on price when it gets to that area where you set an alert, because you say, okay, I've got a level here for whatever reason, X, Y, and Z that I just listed. Now I'm going to zoom in. Now I'm going to go look for low time frame market structure, potential setup patterns to play out, SR flips, trend changes, things like that. And then that's how you actually get in the trade.
Yes, definitely. I think the toughest part is execution, like
Absolutely.
executing the trades. So some people can have good technical analysis, but when it comes time to execute, they don't they don't take the trade for some reason, or they don't execute it well. So like you can have a good long and then end up closing the long too early because you got shaken out or something. So like a lot of stuff counts, and I think like having conviction is good too. So that always works out for good reward, I guess.
You gotta trust your plan, right? Like I always tell
Yeah,
people,
you
right?
need conviction.
Yeah,
If you don't got conviction, then
if you're not,
you're just gonna take profit too soon.
yeah, and if you don't trust your plan, like people are like, oh, I'm in this trade and I'm up this, should I close it? And I go, well, where was your idea? Like, what was the goal? They're like, oh, I want to close at 60K. Well, it's at 55K. Like, what's changed your mind? Do you not trust your initial analysis, or hey, where should I put my stop? I put it here and price is already below it, and I'm still in the trade, right? Like especially when I was new, I would put my stop in and my TP in, and then I tried to not touch the trade until either of those two triggers got hit. Because if I'm not convinced that my plan is legit and that I trust the plan, why am I putting money behind it? You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Uh,
What's the chat saying?
these guys are saying, why do you always use auto and not log for diagonal? I never use log for anything. I feel like the
So
log
like
chart just spreads
they're
out the
talking
chart.
about this right here.
Yeah, log scale.
I don't know. That's funny. There's another trend line came up, but
Yeah,
I
like
don't know. I just stick to the normal,
I use the
like
normal
the
one. I
normal
find the
way.
log scale just smooths out the chart and makes the trend look less aggressive, and
Yeah,
can be kind of something that I think people, especially bulls, will put on the log chart and then spread the chart out really far and be like, look, we're in a massive uptrend. It's like, yeah, but you've just smoothed out like multiple 60% drops. But let's talk about now, Ninja, your kind of high time frame thoughts on Bitcoin. So like, what are you kind of thinking for
sure.
this week on Bitcoin, higher time frame?
So like I haven't really looked higher time frame to be honest. Like I've been trading it intraday, but let me see if I could look at a chart. So I think there's like some sell pressure now. It's funny because Bybit, when they're shorting, the price is not going to go down. When they stopped shorting, the price went down. So that's also something I noticed. So like now they're shorting, like Bitcoin's probably going to bounce soon. Like I was watching it all day in the other range, so it's like it's pretty sad, but you see like they closed shorts up here and then price started going down, so now they're reopening shorts. Like Bybit has real apes. It's just crazy. But yeah, higher time frame. Let me see. This is this. All right, so this is on Binance. So like we could probably start from the weekly. Like we see that we had a trend shift on the weekly here. Um, I guess this is fine. So there's a downtrend. We broke it. We even retested it here on this wick. And now we're breaking above it. So, I mean, I was looking at open interest and I was like, people taking profit. So I thought we was going to top, like, I really thought we was going to top at maybe, hold on, let's see, 12 hour. I thought we was going to top around 65K.
Yeah.
So like when we came to 65K, I was like shorting in this area, right? I was short on this wick, and then like I was underwater, so like I added like around 66.3. So then we broke it out again, right? So I'm like in the position now, probably in mid range, right? Because it was ranging like something like this, right? So I'm like at 66.2. So I didn't take profit here, and I was like maybe like we double topped or something or front ran the double top, so I didn't take profit there. And then when we got up here, I didn't even add because I was looking to close. And then we got here, I could have got out the trade, but I didn't. So like I held it and I got stopped out and then just reshorted basically. But higher time frame, On the weekly, I think this area we had some type of resistance that was like basically we can see like it was around the 61K level. So I think buying pullbacks is probably your best bet. Like I personally wouldn't buy Bitcoin up here. Like I'm only looking to short just because I'm already holding spot from like I don't like it's basically just shorting to get risk to reward because I'm already holding spot. So like
You're effectively hedging, right?
yeah, so like playing risk to reward because like I'm already in spot, so I'm not interested in longs much unless it's a dip. So like if I'm charting a higher time frame, I pretty much have this zone where we shifted around 65 to 64.8. That's the level that should hold for the bull trend to continue. And then if we lose that level, then it's basically 63.6. And I think I would look for longs around 63K. And then maybe if there's bullish price action here, I'd look for longs. But yeah, that's lower time frame. And then if we do lose these levels, then it's back to 58K. And then I think if we lose 58K, we should go to 52K. That was like, you know, what I originally thought was gonna happen, but it didn't. So like as long as we hold these levels, then there's no reason to get bearish. So like I'm just looking to buy dips.
Yeah, and those, if you guys notice, those are the exact areas, right, that I showed on my chart here. Like, if we're looking for, okay, price is already broken out. We don't want to be those gorillas that are chasing, right? Well, where's the pullback that we want to buy? Okay, first, it's around this kind of like 64, 65K area, 65, 66, like that previous all-time high SR flip. And then the next area was that new order block we formed, which is 62K. Below that, you have 58K, and the exact level I have below 58K is 52.7, right? So different ways to analyze the charts, yet we still come up with the same, relative areas to look for setups. And I find that super common in a lot of traders that I speak with. We may mark the charts up differently, have different views on, what works, what doesn't. But in general, for like high time frames of, importance, the numbers are generally pretty close.
Yeah, definitely.
So he's still bullish, guys. He's not a bear god. He's just
Nah,
basically looking to hedge. And I don't disagree with that at all, right? Like, unless you longed above 64K, I don't think there's any reason on the high time frame to be really worried about a really, really large pullback unless we're below 58K. I think your bias is to look for areas to get long on dips. We just broke a bunch of market structure levels. Things are looking bullish. I think the move is to long dips. Unless you're leveraged long from 65K and you're like, oh, what the fuck do I do? Then yeah, maybe you need to be paying a little bit more attention on the low time frame. But for a high time frame trader, for a swing trader, I think you're looking at long, bigger dips. And as long as we're above effectively 60K, I think you're pretty comfy for the high time frame. And like Ninja also mentioned, if you're holding spot, you're long Bitcoin, right? So if you're holding spot, you're long Bitcoin. So if you're using the low time frame to potentially catch some potential downside because the move is getting extended, but you're long spot, all you're doing is hedging your bets, because if price goes up more, guess what? Your spot increased in value and you got stopped out on a little trade. And if price goes down, yeah, your spot went down in value, but you recoup some of that loss by making money on your short trade.
yep, absolutely.
So I think this is a good lesson for people, because I get a lot of people who ask me about low time frame trading. They ask me about trading counter trend, because I'm always the way that I try and explain things to people is like, in a big uptrend on whatever time frame, right? There's gonna be
Mhm.
pullbacks. And
Yeah,
depending on how you trade, there is no harm in trying to catch some of those downside moves on pullbacks, as long as you're aware that when that pullback is occurring and it gets to that area of high time frame support, you have to be aware of what was the high time frame trend, and then look to get back in line with that high time frame dominant trend once that happens. So you can short this, But once we get down to that high time frame SR level, that's when I want to be closing those shorts and looking to get back in line with the dominant high time frame trend.
Yeah, for sure. So like if like the way I monitor the lower time frame trend, I'm just basically looking at footprints. So it helps me keep, you know, an idea of like when sellers are getting aggressive and when, bulls aren't showing up. So like if I'm looking here, you can see like we're near the VWAP and there's sellers like smashing into the VWAP. So it's just a sign that sellers are getting more aggressive and the bulls haven't stepped up yet, but this is an area where the bulls usually step up. So I'm expecting bulls to hold the VWAP to give the that bullish, like to show that we're bullish still. And you can see like even here we're at them. This is where they gotta hold basically. Do you understand? So like it's hard to explain why I'm looking at it. So like this is the bullish structure. You see we broke it, and like there's a VWAP here and there's an order block. So like this is the area they want to hold, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if they lose it, it shows that they're losing control. So that's why I'm still holding the trade. And I mean, if you are bullish, then this is not a bad intraday long, right? Because like it is a 5 minute demand zone with a retested, resistance level. So they should hold this and start to go higher. So maybe I could, move my stop if they break above here and just look for re-entry. So I think that's what I'm gonna do on this position.
So what he's doing here, guys, is level to level trading, right? Like that's all this is. It's level to level. You react at levels. You look for reasons that your trade idea is either right by getting that trend continuation in your favor, or he's basically saying, okay, now my level of invalidation has changed. We've broken market structure. We've made a lower high and a lower low. So if that lower high gets reclaimed, there's a chance my idea is wrong and I need to reassess. But as long as the trend remains in his favor based on his entry, he can trail his stop down. He can take profit at potential support levels. It's literally level to level trading. This is trading that I do on the higher time frame. I'm trading level to level to level to level. But I understand the allure of trading low time frame. Like one of the most common questions I get is, how can I do this on the 5 minute? How can I do this on the fucking 1 minute? And that's not my forte. I've done lots of scalping. I've had some success, but it's just not how I trade. It's not something I've been super successful at. I think there's a really important thing about knowing what your edge is and sticking with it. And there's so much information out there in trading. There's so much noise that it can be almost information overload, and you're unable to make decisions because you've got order books, indicators, price action, Ichimoku cloud, like you got all this shit on your screen. You need to find what works for you. I'm a very, very simple person when it comes to how I chart, because it's what works for me. It's what makes the most sense, and it's something that and then the higher time frame trading is something that just goes with my personality. Like, Ninjas and I's sleep schedule is very different. The amount of screen time that we probably do staring at certain things is very different. Neither one of us is right or wrong, but what I can tell you is Ninja is probably capturing, easily 5 to 10 more trades in a week than I am, if not more. And that's just the nature of how he trades. And perhaps that means that the velocity, which he can then earn money, is higher. But you got to find what works for you. There's no right or wrong answer. Scalping is not better than swing trading. Swing trading is not better than scalping. It's what works for you and your type of personality. And one of my old mentors used to liken it to running, right? Are you a long distance runner or are you a short sprinter, right? Like, and the way that you can test yourself for this is like, if you get in a trade, are you fucking antsy as hell and staring at it like all day, even though you entered it on the 4 hour? Like if I enter a swing trade, I'm not staring at it all day, right? But if you're entering a scalp on the 5 minute, where literally within 10 minutes, everything can change in 2 candles, maybe that's something that appeals to you. Maybe it's something that doesn't. And that's definitely something that I think you need to learn about yourself in terms of what your personality is and what kind of trading jives with that. It's with anything in life, right? Like if you're trying to scalp, but you get stressed out staring at the low time frame chart, you're gonna have a bad time. Whereas a guy like Ninja, like he eats and breathes this shit. He loves it. He wants to be in the order book. He wants to be watching the super low time frame. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like that's just what works for him, right?
Yep, that's straight alpha right there. So like, yeah, I'm just basically just trying to intraday trade. You know, if I can make 1 to 2%, then that's pretty good to me. So that's all I aim for. So
You're
like,
you're gonna do really
I'm
well
I'm
when the
up like in this
volatility
trade.
dries up.
What you said?
I said you're gonna do really well when the volatility drives up, man. Like if you go
Oh yeah,
back and
yeah,
look at
that's
like 2018 and shit, when like we were getting like 1 per 2% moves a day and that was it, man. That's like
yeah.
your dream, just a range.
Yeah, so like that's pretty much when I do like well in those liquidity environments where they're doing liquidity hunts because like it's easy to see who's offside on the trade because the market is very volatile. So I think that's where it's easier to outperform. But when we're trending, it's like if you're not aping, then like you're probably not gonna outperform someone that's aping because like they're just longing everything. So like I think they'll outperform you, but just trying to buy dips more than shorting, I think that's a better strategy to have.
Yeah, I think when you're learning, guys, trying to trade with the dominant high time frame trend is going to be your best bet. Because what Ninja's doing takes thousands of hours of watching the low time frame, looking at the books, and being able to identify, okay, hey, the bulls weren't able to push it up here, therefore this is my low time frame level. That takes repetition of seeing it over and over and over again. And I think when you're learning, the best thing to do is be like, okay, we're in a high time frame uptrend. I'm just gonna look for really obvious buy the dip opportunities and get comfortable making trades, getting consistent at winning some trades. And then if you want to tweak your strategy, sure. I think a big problem a lot of new traders have is they'll watch me trade. They'll be like, oh, I like that. And then they'll watch Ninja trade and be like, oh, but look, he's taking a 9R trade in 5 minutes. Mayne's taking a 9R trade that might take 2 weeks to play out. I like
Yeah.
that. And you're not spending enough time getting really good at one thing before you jump to the other one. And I always liken it to sports because I grew up playing sports. And like, you don't take 10,000 free throws with your right hand and then when it's game time be like, I'm gonna shoot it with my left, right? Like Ninja's developed a skill here over, and go read his Twitter, right? Thousands of hours of looking at this shit and being in the books to where he believes he has an edge over the market that he can then go out and milk some percentage points in either direction. And maybe you can get that skill too, but if you're a high time frame trend trader and then all of a sudden you're like, I want to scout now, don't expect to have the same level of success right away. It takes time.
Yeah, I agree. I think you have to like learn from like a lot of repetition and seeing what works and what doesn't. So like building a system and following the rules and scalping, that's like very important. So that definitely helps. Even with like taking positions, like if you're playing a trade on market structure and the trade breaks the market structure, like knowing to get out, like like that's pretty much how I scalp. So like if I'm entering on like the minute or 30-second time frame, so like I see they didn't take highs here. So like if this is my lower high, so like if I consider this my lower high and I'm bearish, so if I'm shorting here, I'm out like if the price is gonna close above here or here. So that's pretty much how I get my entries so tight to the top. So, if I take a quick loss, like a 1R loss, so if I'm risking zero point 0.7, if I get stopped at market, it's usually around 1R. So like if I'm losing 1R on a setup like this, it's fine because like if I do one that wins, then, it's just gonna make up for the losses. So like effectively scalping, you just have to be in and out. Like if you're wrong, you have to just get out. And then if you see another opportunity, you have to get in. And like you have to time basically whether there's going to be volume and volatility, because if there's no volume and you're trying to scalp in a consolidation range, you're just probably going to get shaken out. So like you have to know when the liquidity is going to come and then try to play it there.
Yeah, I think that comes with practice, right? Like having the numbers and the back testing done where right, like your system allows for multiple losses because like, hey, I might take 3 L's in a row, but when I win, it's 9R.
Yeah.
You're still making good money doing that, and it's trusting those. It's trusting your rules and trusting your system to allow for these downswings and these mistakes. That's part of it, and it's trusting the fucking system. Like I always get people who are like, hey, like my stop was here but I took it off and now we're trading down here. And it's like, well, doesn't that mean your fucking idea is wrong? Like, why are you still in the trade? And I think people have a really hard time, especially early on, realizing like if you get stopped out, that idea was wrong. But if another bearish setup presents itself, hop back in, right? And if you don't trust your system, and you need to then go back to the drawing board and say, okay, well, why was I comfortable taking this first trade, not this second trade? Because that's how it works. When you're aiming for asymmetry and risk reward, your strike rate does not have to be 100%. It can be less than 50%, and you can still make good money.
Definitely. Absolutely. Like if even in this trade here, like I haven't took profit yet, right? So I'm already like what I was risking, I already made that. So on this trade I was risking about 0.67%. So I already made like most of the R already, but I still haven't even took profit because like if we do break something like this, then it could be like a 20R win. So like that's why I'm willing to give back all the profit. So like I'm even willing to get stopped out for 1R to possibly have a chance to make like another 6R. So
Yeah, I think one of the biggest cop outs are like, oh, stop to break even, right? And then it comes back. I would
yeah,
rather lose
no,
1R than get stopped at break even.
absolutely. Because like you have to let your trades play out, or else you're just gonna
Or why were
mess
you in it in the
everything up.
first place?
What, this trade here?
No, I just mean in general. Like, if you're not willing to
Oh
let
yeah,
it play to its finality, why were you in the trade, right? Like,
yeah,
if you're like feeling lucky that you're in profit and you're like, I better fucking close. It's like it sounds like you didn't really have a plan.
absolutely, for sure. And like so like I think it's important to know like so like when you trade you I think it's very important to know market structure, like a break of market structure, a shift back into like, the current trend on lower time frame. So like knowing that it'll help you hold your trades longer. And if you want to risk more, then, you know, you can go for it. So like we had a break here. So like why would I take profit here when, the move could just continue to go down, right? And then another thing that I add to my bias is like I have these trend lines. So below this, I'm just gonna consider it bearish on lower time frames. So I have two reasons to hold the trade, right? And then I'm using EMA right here. So like let's say we break it, and then the EMA starts to come loop around like that. So that's why I'm like holding it still.
Hmm.
So intraday. But yeah, I think like it's safer to trade higher time frame in the beginning.
Yeah, you have more time. Most of you are not trading full time. So, like, if you're trading on the 4 hour or the 12-hour chart, you don't need to be in the screen. Like, if you want to trade intraday, you have to be on the screen more. Maybe you hit your R target for the day, within the first 2 hours of the day, and you can say your day's done, sure. But if you're trading on the 5-minute chart, you need to be watching because lots can happen in an hour. Whereas if you're trading on the 4 hour or the 12-hour chart, like when I was working full time and I was learning to trade, there was only 4 hour candles in my workday. So I was on my computer staring at the charts all day anyways. But realistically, right, you didn't have to sit there and watch the chart all day because I knew I had 4 hours before that candle closed, and then I'd look at it and say, okay, has anything changed that's relevant? So, I think that's awesome. So I mean, we're already at an hour 20. This has kind of flown by.
Yeah.
Let's ask. People are always want to know about alts. Are there any altcoins this week specifically that you're watching that you think might be setting up for some moves? Give us the
Okay. I'll
juice.
just I'll look at some altcoins. So I was watching 1 inch. I was actually long 1 inch, like along like around 440s, and like I was long pretty much from here. So I held on spot basically. I didn't close the trade, and then we got back here, and I didn't see nothing happening, so I got out of this. So I think I'm gonna watch 1 inch if it dips. So like in this zone here. So you see like there
Yeah,
was all I guess this is like the all-time high, right?
it's like
No,
that
I don't know, it's not
range.
the
It's like
all-time
that
high.
range
So
high
this is
from the consolidation though.
yeah, so this is a consolidation range. So we had the breakout candle when they got listed. That was, either commercial money or somebody with a lot of money pushed it here. So I'm expecting them to hold the price because it was just distribution, and it happens. Like you can see,
This looks a lot like a coin that I'm in. SLP.
yeah, I could talk about that too,
I'm getting
because I did trade
absolutely I'm getting absolutely torched. It's a very similar trade. Like it's testing like a previous kind of like range
that. Yeah,
high. And it's just bleeding
so
and kind of
might be good. It's a metaverse coin, I think, right?
yeah.
So yeah, so seeing the fact they bought here, when the price comes back there, I'm just gonna look to buy that. Or, I mean, I'll probably would not buy this unless it breaks like right here and gives a retest,
Yeah.
because like it does have upside potential. So I'm watching 1 inch, and plus it's a good product. I don't know if you know 1 inch, but they're pretty good. Um, for DYDX, uh, I was waiting. I had another chart. Let me see. Do you know about DYDX?
I know what they do. Yeah.
Layer two?
Yeah.
Yeah. They have a pretty solid platform. So like I would look to long this on a dip possibly. So like in this area from 13 to 14. So like just being patient. I was watching it here and we didn't get that dip.
I mean, it's
So I was watching it here and it just pumped. So I'll
that
just be
chart is
waiting here and
effectively
then
the Hasaka classic, pump and then return to the origin of the move, right? Like big pump and it's basically downtrend all the way to
yeah,
where the pump originated from.
it has a lot of upside potential. Like even if it breaks this level, because we had the break of structure here and then you see the distributive pattern. So like I mean they would at least want to test this zone if it is bullish. So if it does break above here and hold, then I'd look to long that. Because it is an altcoin, but it is like a good product, right? So
Yeah.
that's why I'd long it because I like to long altcoins that have good products, just in case if I want to bag hold, I would have at least faith in them, right? So I'm looking at DYDX as well. Chronos, we long that. They have they pretty much launched their L1 platform. So now it's just like any L1 platform like Avalanche. So like they have also a L1 and they have like a big, crypto.com.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a big pretty much like, they have a lot of money. They're a good company, right? So like I want to be an investor in them. So
Well, and
I
people
did
have
long
to
it.
stake just to have the card, right?
Yeah, people already have the card and
Yeah.
they get crypto back. So they have a good product. So like regardless, I do want to long it. Let me just see if I could get a better chart. Okay, so if we're gonna go to the 4 hour time frame, so I did long this like over here, and yeah, like you can see the demand push from this resistance. So ideally, like if I'm gonna look to relong a dip, I'm just gonna take out a fib tool. You could put one here, just mark these levels. You got the 618, the point 0.5 discount. So ideally, below here, if we're bullish, I'd look to long it, and then you could pull up another tool, or hold on, you use a different fib to mark this as the top, and you could even draw some more levels. So yeah, that's what I do with altcoins. So I'll just buy dips based on like discounts and fair value because that is commercial money. So I would assume that they're gonna jump in at these prices. So if it comes down on dips here, then I'd look for bullish continuation, and then worst case, I'm buying more and holding a bag if it comes here because I do like the company regardless. So on dips, I'll buy it. You have one which is a L1 protocol. This is like a coin that got hyped up by crypto. So if crypto hyped it, then I'd look to long it. To be honest, it actually did go to 26. I was actually watching that area, but I guess I was paying attention too much to Bitcoin. Like I wanted to long in this area, but clearly I missed it because I was underwater. It happens. But let me see.
What do you think about like Dogecoin right now and like and Shiba? You think those that like the Shiba run is done?
Shiba, honestly, I don't think so. Because if we have a bull market, then eventually people's gonna rotate into them. Like that's just how the market is gonna work. They're just gonna rotate the money from main cap, mid cap. You know how they do it
Yeah.
from pretty much BTC, ETH, and then Solana, and then you get the L ones. However they plan to do it, they're gonna rotate back into Dogecoins at some point. So I do like Dogecoin and SHIB, probably SHIB more, but you never know because like Elon's coming back. So like
Yeah, it
if
just
he
takes
tweets
one
Doge,
Elon
then
tweet.
yeah. So
So
like you can see SHIB. If I'm longing SHIB, then it's probably gonna be closer to 40 because I took a long already at 47. So I took some profit and I'm just holding with a stop and profit. So SHIB does look good. Um, what other coins do you think?
well, I was gonna ask you because I don't want to go too long. It's late here, and I actually have a flight tomorrow that I got to pack for. So I want to ask you because you're, you know, a few people have asked this in the chat. You know, you've got a ton of stuff on your watch list here. As a full time trader, what is your daily routine? Like waking up, first thing that you do? Like, are you having a coffee, going to the gym, or are you directly on your phone or computer and then going through your watch list?
Um, Typically, I would just look at Bitcoin first. I just see what Bitcoin is doing. Cause like, I mean, like the other week, I was pretty much trading altcoins because we had this type of action, price action. Sorry. So like this range in price action, like I
Generally
could
good
trade
for
this,
alts, yeah.
but if you're gonna trade alts, I think alts outperform this type of price action easily. So I was more interested in alts while holding spot in this range, and then I caught a couple of scalps in between. And yeah, so like looking at Bitcoin now, since like it is, it has moved, I'm more interested to intraday trade Bitcoin as far as like scalp positions. So I'm gonna be watching Bitcoin more, and then for altcoins, I just showed you some levels that I'm interested in. Because like if I'm trading in um altcoins, then I mean, most of them have already pumped, so I'm not looking to buy a pump. I'd rather wait at some like good areas to buy dips.
Yeah, I completely agree. When I'm first thing in the morning, I do the same thing. I have my coffee, take my morning shit, which is caused by the coffee, and then I look at Bitcoin first. I'm still a believer that like there are optimal times for when you want to be focused on alts versus Bitcoin, and this kind of consolidation we had right at the previous all-time high, that's when you're going to see a lot of altcoins get that chance to outperform. And it's all, if you guys go watch my altcoin series, right, where I talk about the ratios and shit, right, that's why. If Bitcoin is stagnant, right, and an alt BTC pair is flat or going up versus Bitcoin, that alt USD pair is going to give you that asymmetric upside. So I find when Bitcoin puts in a range, usually on those moves to the bottom of the range and where it catches a bid, that's when you get those really nice altcoin days. And that's kind of something that's been bread and butter for me for this bull run. But cool, man. I mean, yeah, I know you don't sleep much, so I'm sure you're going to be up all night, staring at your short and watching it and babysitting it. But I've had a long day. I got 8 hours of tattooing. My arm is raw, and I still got to pack for a flight. But yeah, dude, I appreciate you coming on here. Chat,
Anytime.
if you want to follow Ninja, he's Ninjascalp on Twitter. And I'll put all of his info in the description of the stream. And he also streams on Twitch. So definitely one of the more accurate kind of low time frame traders I've seen in terms of macro direction bias. This guy's been nailing it for literally months upon months upon months in terms of the general direction of the market. He was bullish in 30K. He was bullish at 40K. Yeah, all around awesome trader, great guy. His streams are a lot of fun as well. He does them every week. I believe you stream on Sunday as well. So yeah, if you got any questions for him, make sure you follow him on Twitter, follow him on Twitch, bomb his DMs, give him a big thanks, leave some likes and comments on this video, and if there's any other people you'd like me to talk to, let me know. You got any kind of parting thoughts you want to leave the people with?
No, I just don't get wrecked, man.
Don't get wrecked. That's as much as that sounds like silly advice, that's literally the most important thing you can do in crypto is never get so wrecked to a point that you're out of the game, right? Like that comes, if you don't have bullets, you can't shoot. And that comes with practicing risk management. One thing I do know about low time frame scalpers and shit is their risk management's on point. When they're stopped out, they're out. And you never want to let that 1R loss become 2 or 3R because you decided to pull your stop out and see if price might just turn. So cool, man. Appreciate you taking the time here. Hopefully you're not up too late tonight, guys. As always, I appreciate y'all tuning in, and I will be back Thursday with another altcoin video. So we'll talk to you guys then.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Right.
Take care.
Peace, brother.
Peace.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. Hopefully you learned something. Ninja is a friend of mine and a great trader. Definitely a lot of alpha in that episode. And if you're a low time frame trader, you want to learn more about order books, things like that, that's definitely a guy to follow on Twitter and watch his streams as well. I'm sorry for not having the most in-depth analysis on my end, but I'm tired. My arm is sore. My little brother's coming over to crash with me here. I'm taking him to a Lakers game. So if any of y'all are in LA and you want to get a beer, I'll be there all week. Let me know. Shoot me a message. Otherwise, I appreciate you guys as always. Love ya.